ග්‍රාමාත්‍යවරයාගේ ඉතිහාසය දෙස අපි සලකා බැලුවොත් ඔහු කවමදාකවත් ඇත්ත ජනමතයක් තුළ බලය තහවුරු කරගන්න උත්සාහ ගන්න නායකයෙක් නෙවෙයි.
ජාතියේ මහා බැංකුව මංකොල්ල කද්දී තමුන්නාත්ලා නීතිය ගැන කතා කරමින් ඉන්නවා.
මේ පැවැත්ම දිනට තීන්දුව ගන්නේ ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ.
Northwestern and Central Provincial Councils reject the Development Special Provisions Bill. Agrarian associations stormed the Paddy Marketing Board requesting a just system for the distribution of state paddy stocks. Hey Nanikola indigenous leader requests Provincial Council to renovate an access road to his village but leaves empty-handed. Turbulence in the atmosphere, Sri Lanka to experience rainfall in the coming days.
The Development Special Provisions Bill was rejected by the Central and Northwestern Provincial Councils today.
The Central Provincial Council convened today under the auspices of its chairman LD Nimalasiri.
They have asked whether we approve or disapprove this bill.
At present, we are against this. This has been submitted to Parliament with amendments. However, this bill does not have any amendments. Sometimes the views that we express on this may not be relevant because of the amendments, so we should discuss this then.
Why are you against this? This is approved by the Cabinet, which also consists of the President and the Prime Minister.
The chairman of the Provincial Council had to adjourn proceedings for 15 minutes when a tense situation erupted in the chambers. The session heated up once again when the council resumed its proceedings. Opposition leader Renuka Herath attempted to voice her views once again. However, amid constant interruptions by the council, the opposition councillors exited the chamber. Subsequently, during the vote on the bill, 29 members of the UPFA, 2 members of the Ceylon Workers' Congress and a member of the Sri Lanka Muslim Congress voted against the bill. 4 councillors abstained from voting.
The activities of the council took place in an undemocratic manner today.
When looking at the past of the Prime Minister, he was never an individual who attempted to solidify leadership through a public mandate. This bill was introduced to establish dictatorial powers through a backdoor.
Meanwhile, the Northwestern Provincial Council, which gathered under the auspices of its chairman Tikiri Adhikari, rejected the Development Special Provisions Bill with a majority of 20 votes. 11 votes were cast in favour of the bill. So far, the Development Special Provisions Bill has been rejected by 7 provincial councils. Minister of Health Dr. Rajitha Senaratne joined Newsfirst Newsline this afternoon and expressed these views on the Development Special Provisions Bill.
We have just a couple of days more for the new year, for year 2017. In retrospect, if we take a look back at the year gone by, do you see progress?
Definitely in most of the areas we have a lot of progress, especially about the peace, then there is reconciliation and all that, the understanding between the communities. Then actually the people are living without fear. And there were so many legislation brought to strengthen the democratic institution in the country. So you're about media, about the auditing, and about the 19th amendment brought here, removing the draconian powers with the presidency. Although there are a lot of positive and plus things.
But these days, Minister Senaratne, the talk of the town is the Development Special Provisions Bill, which is now being defeated at most of the provincial councils. You spoke about draconian legislation. Isn't this a piece of draconian legislation? In section 51 of the proposed act, it says it offers immunity for civil and criminal actions, not just actions which are done but also perpetrated actions.
I am against giving any immunity to anybody in any position, because we were struggling from 1978 with the 78 Constitution. The main thing was the immunity given to the presidency. So now we are for the first time in the government, after about 40 years, we have removed the immunity. And the present president, he himself canvassed and campaigned to get the immunity that he had, to get rid of that. So what we have removed from the president, we cannot give it to anybody else. There is no other superior person to be given other than the president in that case. I don't know who this lawyer who had written this law, because he must understand the political situation of the country, for what purpose this government has come into power. So therefore, there should be more powers to develop this country. But the powers should be in under the democratic frame, not go beyond the democracy of the country.
Dr. Senaratne, going forward towards 2017, do you see that the SLFP and the UNP would be working in harmony, in tandem?
The two leaders are working with harmony and with very good understanding, and a lot of senior leaders also doing the same thing from the SLFP and the UNP. But there are certain people who don't understand what is a national unity government. They don't understand what is reconciliation, because this is a very new thing that we are actually researching, something like research. Still, America, they couldn't do. The Conservatives and the Republicans couldn't come together. In UK, the Conservatives and the Labour couldn't come together to form a government. We have formed. So then there are certain people who don't understand the value of it, who don't understand for what purpose this was done. Right? There may be problems in the government, but there are institutions where we have to criticize. Because some parties, some people still believe the greatest ever thing that they can do is to work for their parties, not for the country. My politics is first the country, then the party. This is the year we will correct our wrongs and we will march forward to actually achieve all our targets, what we have promised to the people on good governance.
That was, of course, Newsfirst Sonali Vanigabaduge in conversation with Minister Dr. Rajitha Senaratne on Newsline. In more local news, the Tamil Progressive Alliance convened a media briefing in Colombo today.
The president says that this government cannot be toppled till 2020, but Dilan Perera says something else, while Minister S.B. Dissanayake says something different. In an article in the Today newspaper, a request is made to former President Mahinda Rajapaksa to help in establishing an SLFP-led government. Everyone who helped the president form this government wishes that this government will be in power till the year 2020. But those who help Mahinda Rajapaksa will try to destroy the government. Do not talk unnecessary things. If you want to remain here, stay here or feel free to leave. We want to move forward with this national government. Our intention is not to form a united national front-led government. Why do we need a national government? In order to solve the problems we have, blue and green should get together. Isn't it the official opinion of the president that Minister Dilan Perera said? The minister made this statement at the party headquarters. When UMPs express their views from the headquarters, that does not mean that it is the opinion the party holds. Everyone has democratic right to express their ideas. If arrangements are made to form a government jointly with the joint opposition, what steps will you take? Ask them to do it if they can. No problem. I challenge them. This government is going to appoint a super minister. What is your opinion on that? A super minister will not be appointed officially. That is something we have created on our own. The United National Front attempted to introduce the provincial council system back in 1987. We were there. Who tried to ruin the country? It was the SLFP. What did they say? They told not to let UMP take over the country because the UMP will split the country. But out of the 9 provinces, chief ministers of 7 provinces are from the SLFP. The JVP set the country on fire. They are also now councillors of various provincial councils. What are they saying now? They say not to take away their powers and privileges. They call on the central government not to take their powers away. In a way, I'm happy about this. I ask them to say more. We will not let a super minister come into power.
තවත් වැඩි වැඩි ගයි කියන කියලා කියනවා. කියන්න කමන්න. කෙසේවත් සුප්‍රියවතිවරයෙක් එන්නේ අපි දෙට දෙන එකට.
Member of Parliament Vimala Veera Dissanayaka, speaking to reporters today, was vocal on the bond scam.
හතරවතේ කෙල ගහනවා.
I saw ministers spit everywhere. With your help, the United National Party and this deceitful government looted 10 billion rupees in bonds and then looted another institution and is attempting to sell off state property as well. You paved the way for it. You supported it even when we said no. You used the innocent votes of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party to make this UMP government, and when the looting is taking place, what are you doing? The bond scam took place. When the central bank was looted, you are speaking of the law. No action has been taken.
State Minister Lakshman Yapa Abeyewardena elaborated on who is capable of deciding the fate of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party.
The Central Working Committee will decide on the future of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. If the Central Working Committee takes a decision tomorrow, we will stand by it. I asked the Sri Lanka Freedom Party MPs to name at least one MP who is against the consensual government. There are 95 MPs from the Sri Lanka Freedom Party and none of them speak ill of this. The Central Working Committee of the party will decide on our fate. An MP who was elected recently cannot make a decision about our existence. An amateur MP or an inexperienced politician cannot decide our fate. The chairman of the Central Working Committee of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party will make the respective decision.
He also emphasized on the need to prioritize the debate on the bond scam during the next sitting in Parliament.
We cannot let go of the allegation made by the General Secretary of the party. This is the first in the country and we cannot take a step back. Give us time until the President makes a decision. When there is a parliamentary process, you cannot look into other things. Following the parliamentary debate, there won't be any issue.
Small and medium-scale rice mill owners and the Agrarian Association of the JVP demand for a just system in the distribution of government paddy stocks. The group visited the Paddy Marketing Board and a tense situation erupted.
The group was denied permission to meet with the chairman of the Paddy Marketing Board. As a result, the group forced their way into the premises. The attempt was foiled by police and an opportunity was given to discuss the matter with the chairman of the Paddy Marketing Board. We have proof that the stocks in the warehouses were sold at 49 rupees a kilogram. We can prove it. It was the top story on Sirasa TV. This fraud was exposed by Sirasa TV. Yet the rice prices have not reduced and there is no stop to the extortion as well. The system that you adopted is a failure. You came here saying you want to present facts and hand over letter. Please give it time. The Paddy Marketing Board is not a paddy board. There is a ministry, there is a cabinet, and there is a president and prime minister. There needs to be a joint discussion.
There is a massive fraud taking place. You can make a decision.
I cannot.
Why can't you? Make a phone call. We are suspicious as to why you cannot do that. I wonder if you are getting a cut from that.
Please present it.
So why can't you act on this if you are thinking of the consumers and the farmers? I suspect that you are being given a commission from this. You are evading this matter. Give us the list. Do not avoid us, Mr. Chairman. This is an issue to the people.
There is a board. The chairman cannot make decisions alone.
The Henanigala indigenous leader called on several Eastern Provincial Council ministers today requesting assistance to renovate the access road to his village.
The Henanigala indigenous leader Uruwarge Khalubandila Atho arrived at the Eastern Provincial Council and presented his request to the Provincial Minister of Health A.L.M. Nazir. However, the Provincial Minister failed to provide a solution. Thereafter, he met with the Provincial Minister of Road Development. She responded in the following manner. The provincial council has not received sufficient funds for this purpose. It is difficult to resolve this at this time. However, I will discuss this with the central government. The Henanigal indigenous leader who came to the local authority for a solution set off to his village empty-handed.
The mortal remains of former Prime Minister Ratnasiri Wickramanayake were brought to his residence in Horana this afternoon. Late Ratnasiri Wickramanayake was appointed as the Prime Minister for the first time in the year 2000. He served a second term in office as Prime Minister from 2005 to 2010.
The remains of late Prime Minister Ratnasiri Wickramanayake were taken to the parliamentary complex this morning. Members of the parliament, ministers and employees of the parliament headed by the speaker paid their last respects to former Prime Minister.
We paid respect to a gentleman politician who lived with the people, who loved by the people, and I would describe him as a model politician. He was very honest. He had clean hands, so we respect him today as a model politician, honorable politician, and also a gentleman politician.
Late Ratnasiri Wickramanayake held numerous positions within the SLFP since 1962 and was serving as a senior advisor to President at the time of his demise.
He was a quiet and humble person. He was not afraid to express his ideas. He was a leader who had patriotic feelings towards his nation. He is a national leader who is unmatched in caliber. He worked to protect the nation and he deserves the respect of the country.
Ambassadors and diplomats also paid their last respect to the remains of late former Prime Minister Ratnasiri Wickramanayake at the parliamentary complex. The final rites of former Prime Minister Ratnasiri Wickramanayake will be held on the 31st of December in Horana.
We were informed that the final rites will be held on the 31st of this month in Horana. The President called last night and instructed us to give our fullest support to the funeral, which will be held under state sponsorship. We request all state-owned organizations to hoist the national flag at half-mast till the 31st of this month.
Welcome back. You're watching Primetime News. In more local news, 25 individuals who were remanded for inconveniencing the public during the bus and three-wheel drivers' strike action were released on bail today. The group included 2 Western Provincial councillors.
The 25 individuals, along with 2 provincial councillors, Ananda Harishchandra and Lalanta Gunasekara, were released on sureties of 100,000 rupees each and cash bail of 10,000 rupees each. They were released after being produced before the Negombo Magistrates Court. The lawyer especially informed the court that the 2 councillors were at the Provincial Council office at about 2 p.m. that day. After the courts considered all of the facts, bail was granted to all of those who were arrested, including the 2 provincial councillors. If people in the Yahapalana government think that they can suppress people by threatening them or jailing them, then they are mistaken. The government is not sensitive to the people. This is what we have been saying all along. The government does not heed the voice, needs of the people. The case was postponed till the 30th of January. Earlier yesterday, former President Mahinda Rajapaksa visited the remand prison to inquire into the well-being of the provincial councillors.
The Financial Crimes Investigations Division, or FCID, obtained a statement from former Minister Vimal Veerawangsa today.
The former minister was questioned in connection to the alleged misuse of a vehicle which belongs to the Presidential Secretariat. Despite summons being issued by the police FCID on several occasions to obtain a statement in this regard, the former minister was not present. The 4th Magistrates Court then ordered Vimal Weerawansa to appear before the FCID and provide statements in order to assist the investigation. Accordingly, Vimal Weerawansa was questioned for over 5 hours and is expected to appear before the FCID tomorrow morning for further questioning.
Media reports say debt-ridden national carrier Sri Lankan Airlines has incurred another loss of over $15.9 million as a result of a delay by Pakistan International Airlines in acquiring 2 aircraft under an agreement signed in August this year. With the aim of cutting debt, the state-run airline struck a deal with the PIA in July 2016 to lease 4 of its Airbus A330 planes after cancelling an order for 4 Airbus A350 aircraft. According to the Sri Lanka Mirror, PIA had not been able to generate sufficient money from the aircraft operation and has requested a discount rental payment for a second aircraft. Pakistan airline negotiators wants a wet lease agreement revised with a discount on the previous aircraft and a dry lease agreement for the other 2 aircraft at a discount payment. A wet lease is a leasing arrangement where one airline provides an aircraft, complete crew, maintenance and insurance to another airline which pays by hours operated. Cash-strapped Sri Lankan Airlines suffered another blow owing to delays by Pakistan International Airlines in settling installment payment for the wet leasing of the first A330 and the failure to take over the other 2 aircraft. According to Sri Lanka Mirror, the 2 airlines are currently negotiating to settle the issue. Attempts by Newsfirst to contact the management of Sri Lankan Airlines for a comment were unsuccessful. Sri Lankan Airlines has debts of around $3.25 billion and is looking for an international partner to help reverse years of losses.
The former chairman of the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, Chandra Jayaratne, in an open letter to Deputy Minister Iran Wickramaratne, has called on the minister and the government to take timely, positive, governance-based reform action with transparency, abiding by principles committed to by the government in its 2015 election manifestos.
Through the letter, former chairman of the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, Chandra Jayaratne, has highlighted 7 key points that could catalyze a reform action. One of the suggestions requests the government to take urgent steps to expand the scope, coverage and accountability of the Code of Best Practice in Corporate Governance for state-owned public enterprises, incorporating new or revised provisions. The letter also suggests the establishment of a parallel court system dedicated to hear corruption-related cases facilitated by electronic interfaces and communications. The letter also calls for the introduction of an incentive scheme whereby a percentage of proceeds of crimes and fines collected to be distributed to improve the infrastructure facilities, capability of human resources and welfare, as well as a special performance bonuses of those public servants engaged in investigations on cases covering serious financial and other crimes that are currently pending successful judicial proceedings. The letter concludes by calling on the government to consult the relevant officials and engage in the recommended process. The letter goes on to note that it is a sincere hope of the civil society that the recommended suggestions will receive early attention and will lead to transparent engagement and reform action facilitated by the government.
Welcome back. The Department of Meteorology says that the rainy weather condition prevalent in many parts of the islands may continue tomorrow as well due to a disturbance in the atmosphere.
Heavy showers in the Narakandra area on the Hanguranketha Ulampenna road had uprooted a tree, bringing vehicular movement to a standstill. However, vehicular movement has now normalized. According to our correspondent, electricity in the area was also disrupted due to the collapse of the tree. Several parts of the island, including the western province, experienced heavy showers yesterday and this evening.
At present, Sri Lanka is experiencing some rainfall due to a disturbance in the upper atmosphere. In fact, it started yesterday and we are expecting it to continue until tomorrow evening. During these 3 days, mostly the thunderstorms were confined to the southwestern parts of the wet zone. However, some rain was received in the dry zone, but the rainfall amounts were quite low. For example, today in Colombo, the highest rainfall has been received in Colombo, which is 46 millimeters, whereas in the dry zone, like Batiklu has received only 1 millimeter and Anuradhapura 0.1 millimeter. So there is some rain all over the country, and we are expecting that trend to continue even for tomorrow.
At an event held in Hambantota today, Minister Sajid Premadasa expressed these views on his predecessor.
The former subject minister is speaking of being a patriot. That is his mantra. He cannot speak about his tenure in this ministry in Parliament and face the budget debate. The expenditure heads of the Ministry of Housing and Construction were taken up and he was not there. He refused to attend. He is going all over the country speaking of patriotism in order to topple the government. Minister Sajid Premadasa laid the foundation stone for the 79th Udagammana concept village in Koragaha Ulpata in Hambantota. The village will be named as the Sarasevana village.
One person was killed when police opened fire down Inner Harbour Road in Trincomalee.
The shooting took place between 8 and 9 p.m. yesterday. Police said that a group was fleeing in a three-wheeler after snatching a gold chain in Kantale. 2 police officers from Kantale had been in pursuit of the three-wheeler on a motorbike from the Kantale town. Police said the three-wheeler was moving without heeding police orders and added that officers were forced to open fire at the three-wheeler in Tambalagamua. However, the three-wheeler had continued to move ahead and again police fired 3 shots at it on the Sardarpura Kanya Valley Road 17 kilometers away from Tambalagamua. Despite being shot at twice, the three-wheeler had continued to move towards Trincomalee and police stopped the three-wheeler and arrested the suspects at the Inner Harbour Road. According to police, one of the suspects had already succumbed to gunshot wounds.
Well, that's it from all of us here at the MTV Newsfirst desk. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Mahina Bongzo.
And I'm Shaheen Durrangpati. Good night and take care.